President of the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change Party, Major General Mugisha Muntu, who was flanked by senior FDC leaders, addressed journalists at the party headquarters in Najjanankumbi, Kampala. Referring to the 18th February presidential elections in which President Museveni was pronounced winner, General Muntu said the election was a sham and FDC presidential candidate Dr. Kizza Besigye was rigged out.
There are clear and glaring contradictions between what was declared by the Electoral Commission and what we have gathered across the country. We have a situation in the country where the presidential candidate who lost was declared a winner.
In his first media address after the presidential election results, Dr. Besigye asked for an international audit of the election results.
Who will constitute that independent audit? Who will be members of that independent audit? How independent will they be? And independent from who or what?
Deputy Government spokesman Colonel Shaban Bantaliza said government could consider the audit but wondered under which law it would be conducted.
An independent organ, it would be independent from who? Okay? Because if you are going to do that audit, it requires that it is done under a well-stated and clear legal framework.
General Muntu urged civil society organizations, the international community and the populace to exert pressure on the government to establish the truth of the recent election.
It is the legitimate right of any Ugandan, singularly or collectively, to express himself or herself through peaceful civic action as a form of non-violent struggle, as provided in Article 29(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda.
For civil disobedience arising out of the defiance program in the campaign time. And unless and until that threat has waned away, I don't see anybody withdrawing security forces from the street or from anywhere.
The FDC president cited some of what he said were irregularities recorded during last month's vote.
50 polling stations. All of them registered 100% turnout. All of them voted for one candidate. Actually, there are people who are dead in some of those lists of those polling stations.
FDC Party President Major General Mugisha Muntu has called upon government to remove all the policemen and the army who were deployed in various parts of the country, including at their party headquarters and FDC presidential candidate Dr. Kizza Besigye's home in Kasanga. He says that such deployment of the men in uniform is a sign of the arrogance of the regime. However, in the past, the police have said that they have deployed in many parts of the country in order to keep law and order.
We are a political party. We are registered under the laws of this country. It's unlawful for anybody to station troops outside our headquarters. It's illegal, it's unlawful.
Call for withdrawal of the police or security forces unless the threat assessment by security forces has gone to nil.
At the FDC headquarters.
FDC headquarters is not an embassy. It's part and parcel of the Ugandan public property. All right? The FDC people who are in Najjanankumbi, they're entitled to security. If anybody, let's say for purposes of argument, anybody came to attack them in order to say government has attacked FDC and found we are not there, what explanation would we give?
According to the former army commander, government is panicking after sham election, and it's the reason police and soldiers are still deployed in Kampala in major urban areas across the country.
But for somebody to say government is panicking, it is to say that we are unprepared to contain insecurity, which is of course not true.
By the law. And I would like to believe that there is an adequate number of Ugandans who want to see that established in this country. And by the grace of God, that will come to pass.
On whether FDC would apply to the Supreme Court to be allowed to join the petition filed by former presidential candidate Amama Mbabazi, challenging the presidential election results, Muntu said the party is yet to discuss the matter.
Whether it's them who approach us or whether it's us who approach them, we will have a discussion.
Dr. Besigye's lawyers say they failed to file the petition after police frustrated their efforts by confining Besigye to his home. But Shaban Bantaliza says this is just an excuse.
The primary one is, do not create conditions for the restriction of your movement in the first place, and then complain about the restriction, because that is secondary. The primary is, you created the conditions yourself.
Last week, Secretary General of the ruling NRM party, Kasule Lumumba, said President Museveni is willing to meet the opposition for dialogue. General Muntu says FDC has been pushing for dialogue since 2011, but President Museveni has never responded.
Trying to do a negotiation in between needs to understand the psychology of President Museveni.
Sudhir Ruhanga, NTV.